Welcome to This Week in Racing, where Logan, Claudia, and I will take you through all the racing headlines that you don't want to miss. Before we get into Christian Horner's rumored return and Porsche bringing home another IMSA championship, let's first talk about the big news over at Mercedes. The team is in Austin this week for the US Grand Prix, and they just announced that George Russell and Kimi Antonelli are back again for the 2026 season. What do you guys think? The news is finally here.
I think it was definitely a matter of when, not if they were going to sign them, but it was definitely surprising how long it took for them to sign George. Kimmy is a whole other conversation, I think. But like George has been at the team for a while now and has shown he's been very competitive. He just came off a win in Singapore, so I don't know what the holdup was, and I definitely wish I was a fly on the wall for many of those conversations.
I know, it's actually insane that it's taken this long. Again, I don't think anyone's surprised. Like, where else would George go? Alpine?
I mean, one thing that I was kind of surprised about with the whole announcement was that it was just so matter of fact. There was nothing about them kind of saying how they're looking forward to continue building this team with George, with these two drivers. Again, like Kimmy is a rookie. If I was George, I would be pissed that my contract announcement came at the exact same time as Kimmy's. There was no mention of how long it's for. So they just said like they're signed.
Yeah, it must suck to have been, like, not under Lewis's shadow, but under Lewis's shadow, and then you finally think it's your time to step up and be the team leader in Golden Boy, and you're kind of not, like, you're competing with an 18-year-old, like, I also wonder if that was part of why the negotiations took so long and the strategic wording around it, like, maybe it is a one-year deal, but, like, on George's side, he doesn't want other people to know that, like, if he wants to be perceived as, team leader and somebody that's there for the long haul, like, that's potentially part of what took so long is being like, "'Kay, we can announce this, but I don't want anyone to know that it's only a year," just to give him
Yeah.
some leverage.
So it is being reported by Luke Smith of The Athletic that insiders are saying it's a multi-year deal. But, call me a conspiracy theorist. If you read the F1 announcement article about this and you just look at the quotes that are given, these things are done in a very meticulous way. And the language George uses only talks about how he's excited for his 10th year with the team effectively, and he's looking at next year. That's it. There's no multi-year language. When you look at the press release Lewis had back in 2023 with the team, he's talking multiple times in that article that F1 had published about how he's going to be there for 2 seasons and he's looking ahead. None of that's there with George. So, well, insiders may be saying it's a multi-year deal. This really, there's smoke, there's fire, so to speak. It's like something's going on here. Has to be.
I feel like if it was a multi-year deal, you'd wanna flaunt that, like, "I'm at Mercedes for the next 4 years," like, that's huge and a great team to be there for that long at, so,
Yeah.
who knows,
If it's so
smells
pivotal, own it, right? That would be the thing.
Well, the bottom line is that congrats to Kimmy and George for signing. It'll be great to see them as teammates again and just back on the grid. And of course, no one really doubted that they weren't going to be signed to Mercedes, but I think the next couple years could be very interesting and there's going to be shakeups everywhere. And we're still waiting on Red Bull to announce everything, basically, besides Max. So who knows? We'll see, but silly season is never ending.
Drop a comment, and while you're there, be sure to subscribe for more just like this.
In the NASCAR world, we've got some very exciting news with Denny Hamlin winning his 60th race at the South Point 400, which took place in Las Vegas this past weekend. I'm wearing my Denny merch. I had to support his 60th win. His win in Vegas made him 10th on the list of all-time wins in NASCAR, which is very impressive. But the thing that kind of like keeps getting my attention is the fact that he is yet to win a championship. So, this is the first time since 2021 that he's kind of still in contention for that, which is very exciting. He's definitely hunting that down. I mean, I think he's said in numerous interviews that, like, a championship doesn't define how great he is and everything like that, but it's gotta be like Palou winning the 500, like, even though he's won a championship, there's still, like, that extra step, so I'd love to see him do that. I mean, I think it kind of, like, comes back to the question of how do you measure greatness in a sport like this? Like, even though he's 10th, in terms of, like, how many wins he hasn't won a championship, so do people consider him to be one of the greatest? Like, I kinda do, I honestly, but what do you guys think?
It's hard because he's this villain, and it's one of those things where, like, you need a heel, you need a bad guy, but to me, that detracts from the person's character. Like, I think you always need to try and find ways to lift people up. And the fact that he's the guy that gets on the microphone at the end of the race and has said numerous times, like, you all love to hate me, and he stokes the crowd and pisses people off. I don't love that about him, but you got to respect the hustle on the flip side. So I think you can measure it, especially in motorsports where you literally cannot win 100% of the races. Just look at Alex Palou this past year in IndyCar, or Max Verstappen in the past. Like, neither of them had 100% win rate. Like, clearly Denny being at the top like that and being such a big personality is pretty great. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's a pretty iconic guy. Like, I don't know if he needs the championship, but I feel like for the legacy and the records, that's always a nice to have. I don't know, it feels like a Charles Leclerc, like so many wins and so much potential. And you'd think there was a title there, but there isn't.
Yeah.
Crazy.
with Denny, it almost feels, I don't know if this is entirely fair, but feels like a Nico Hulkenberg situation where you have this guy who spent his entire career in F1, but he never made it to the podium. Now, Denny's obviously been to the podium a lot more, but like, he had that moment in the British Grand Prix this year, and it was so big and so defining for him, and everyone was happy for him no matter what. Denny has had many more race wins, but the guy has been racing for over 20 years in NASCAR, has
Yeah.
started 700 times and is yet to take over 700 times and is yet to take home the championship once. It feels more like that. Like, there's this
Yeah.
need to have it because the career has been so long in a sport that is so unrelenting.
I do think that to really make it to like the list of icons, he needs a championship. That's just me. I feel like you could be a fantastic driver, but like to actually be remembered and have people talk about you and be in those Hall of Fames and all of these awesome Wikipedia lists of achievements, like you just got to have that extra number to make it count.
Well, maybe 2025 will be his year. My fingers are crossed. Denny, I'm going to be buried in this shirt, so don't even worry.
And that is a promise.
Another motorsport championship, IMSA Racing. We love IMSA. We've gone to quite a few races this season. They have just closed out with the final race, and Porsche wins the IMSA championship. Cam Jam, a duo that we've talked to and we love. They're awesome. They're a great team, great duo. Very exciting for them that they won in the number 6. AO Racing won in the LMP2 category, also pretty iconic considering everything that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks and their goals of expansion and just getting out there. They're also a really popular team, so congrats to all the winners. It was really a chaotic race. Like, lap 1 was insane. The crash was wild. 10 cars did not finish the race, including poor old James Hinchcliffe's Path Motorsports car. It was a wild one. Did you guys tune in?
I watched the highlights. It was definitely IMSA's got some of the best racing. It really does. Some of the best crashes. Thankfully, everyone is almost always safe. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, the wheel-to-wheel action is so wild, and it's so fun because there's so many races within the race, like amongst the different classes, amongst like different drivers that we know from other series competing against each other, who's going to do better from IndyCar, blah blah blah, like all of that stuff. So yeah, IMSA is very exciting, and I think it was a great way to kind of end this season and just wrap it up.
I agree. Super exciting for all that participated in it. I was curious what you guys thought of the Cam Jam duo because you've both talked to them before. Obviously, I'm curious to see if there were any team dynamics or anything that you thought was surprising or fun about their partnership and anything that might have helped them come this far.
And when we sat with Matt and Mathieu in Daytona at the start of the season, you could tell the chemistry they had, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, you're going at it for 10 hours in this case, nonstop. You've got to rotate. You're tired. It's going into the late night until the checkered flag falls. Like, there's a lot going on. You've got to really work well together.
I think it also just comes down to trust. I mean, I think that was one thing that they were kind of saying in Daytona as well. They've competed with each other, like, as teammates for so many years now. I think, like, starting in 2020, maybe around then. And so they've just been able to learn each other's driving styles, each other's routines. They know their strengths, their weaknesses. And I think that's, like, ultimately so important when you're building a partnership like this, and competing, like you said, Greg, in some of the most kind of like gnarly conditions in terms of just like time. And so I think I think it's very special what they have going on, and clearly they've been successful time and time again, so there's something that works.
Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe because we've got a lot more content coming each and every week. Let's run through our honorable mention headlines. This week, the big story, Alex Palou and McLaren's lawsuit intensified. As we've talked about before, the two are in court. This time, Alex Palou's legal team is saying that McLaren CEO Zach Brown instructed his team to, quote, keep everything WhatsApp and then delete. Zach is pushing back, saying that that's standard, normal business policy, and that he was not destroying evidence. So we'll continue to watch this and see where it goes, but it is getting extra spicy. On top of that, Nicolas Latifi is back. He went dark on social media after he left F1 World in 2022, and he came back. He's back to announce that he just graduated from LBS with an MBA. So congrats to Nicolas, and looking forward to seeing what he's got. And then finally, other big congratulations are in order because Rinus VeeKay signed with Juncos Hollinger Racing for 2026. This is special because we sat with Rinus in Nashville and filmed an Insider episode, which just dropped. So you can check out how he's thinking about racing as a whole. But he was really leaning in on how this is his defining era in his career. And clearly this is that era really coming to fruition. So we're excited to see what comes next season for Rinus. And congrats.
Well, we've got some more F1 gossip and rumors to bring back up. A couple weeks ago, we discussed Christian Horner's massive payout. Afterwards, there have been some developments and rumors about his potential return to F1 and some convos that he's having with different teams. There's nothing really set in stone or concrete yet, but there's lots of conversation around if he should even come back in the first place. Like, he's had a huge impact and legacy at Red Bull, obviously, but is it time for us to see some new team owners and team principals and new faces in general around the paddock? What team would he even fit into at this point?
I've been seeing rumors that he's going to either Ferrari or Haas, or not really like that he's going there, but that he's just been linked to both of those teams. I don't know. Honestly, he's pretty entertaining. I cannot lie. He's pretty entertaining. He brings some drama, but at the same time, I think it goes back to what we've talked about so many times in terms of like Cadillac and Colton Herta and all of that stuff, where it's like, we should be bringing in new people. This is such a small cohort of professionals where it's kind of like, let's expand the bubble. We don't need to be reducing, reusing, recycling people. Like, let's get some new faces in and kind of, I don't know, change up the dynamics a little bit. Yeah, sorry, Christian.
Oh, keep him, bring him back. I want him put him at Haas or somewhere where he's got to really bring the team from the ground up. Look at what James Vowles is doing with Williams. Yes to new talent. I'd love to see that more on the driver's side. And I'd love to see Christian like pushing a team forward just because it takes so much to lift the team up. Obviously, the driver has a lot on their shoulders, but you know, it's one person and they can really control their destiny. You've got to manage an entire 1,000-person operation, all the sponsorships, everything else. Like, Christian's done this. I want to keep Fred, but maybe he could come in and turn Ferrari around. And a Lewis and Christian combination would be an absurd team.
That would be pretty insane. What are you thinking, Claudia?
I think Lewis would literally resign if they were like, Christian Horner's coming in. I think Lewis would be like, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
I'm just going to retire at this point.
That's my cue. I'd love to see Christian in a different series. Like, get him teamed up with Gunther in the MotoGP or something. Like, I don't know. I'd love to see him somewhere else.
That would be
not
even more absurd.
You know, I feel like he'd be a good replacement for Simon Cowell and Britain's Got Talent or something like that. Like, he could probably do a good job at managing the bands. Like, I'm sure Ginger Spice has got some feedback about like music management. I don't know. I think he just needs to test out a new industry and like try out different forms of management. Like, he's been in motorsport for so long, and again, like, has left his legacy there. Maybe don't go back and like try to have to deal with the chaos that is Ferrari. Like, go and build the next One Direction or something. Like, I could see that for him.
So last week we asked you guys how Lewis is truly feeling at Ferrari, and about 70% of you said that he was definitely having a mental breakdown. This week, we want to know if you guys think that Christian Horner should come back to F1, and if so, which team he should lead. Claudia and I agree that keep him out, but Greg kind of wants him back in, so we want to know what you guys think. So head to our channel and let us know in the poll.
That's it for all our headlines. Comment below if you think there's something that we missed. And while you're there, check out our channel memberships for early access to exclusive stories like this one. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week for another set of headlines. More to come.